Hey everybody, how's it going today? It's me, Captain Energy, and today we're taking a look at the LM Drum. I have a hack for you that you're going to like, I think. Here's what's up. The LM Drum, as you may or may not know, if you've got one, it uses a sample sharing mechanism where, for example, the snare here, right, is actually one snare drum that gets loaded for 1, 2, and 3 here. And it just plays it different at different velocities and cuts off the sample at a certain place to use one snare 3 times. It does the same for bass, does the same for the ride symbol, which is right here, these 2 buttons when you're shifted down, ride 1 and 2, and it does that for hi-hat, 1, 2, and open are 1 sample. Cabasa does the same thing where it's 1 sample played 2 different ways, and tambourine does the same thing where it's 1 sample played 2 different ways. And it's a bit crazy that this is that limited in this way, and this definitely needs to change. This is something I've got to send another suggestion to them, because to Behringer, that is, because you can load a sample on the congas and on the toms, and you can control the start and end point of the sound, thereby allowing you to have 3 sounds on your toms and 2 sounds on your congas, which could be anything. You could load a vocal sample, you could load an instrument, you could load anything you want in there. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, if this kind of content is helpful to you and you find it useful, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. There's been some growth here on the channel lately, and I'm really excited about it. I would love to see it go further, but I can't do that without you. So please consider sharing this with people in our community. The music community is a niche group, and we really need to spread good news and good information around. And you can help me do that by sharing, liking, and subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance for your assistance. So let's get into this. Let me show you what I did here in Audacity. What I did was I took 3 different samples, like a bass sample, a lead type sample, or like a, some kind of synth sample, and a little loop. And they're all played at C, and I took them, I did them in Reason, and I exported the audio as one waveform from there, and I loaded it in here to Audacity just to be able to show you so that you could see what I've got going on here. Now, typically, when you load a sample into a sampler, you would bring in just this, and you would either put it across all the keys, or you would maybe you'd have multiple samples, whatever. But this device doesn't allow, the LM Drum does not allow that many samples to be loaded. So here's what we can do though. If we create one sample and put them all in there, you can control the start and length of these sounds, okay? And by being able to do that, you can tell it to stop at the end of the first wave, and that the second wave starts here, not at the beginning, and then ends here, and the third wave starts here and ends here. So you get what I'm saying? I'm going to show you how we do this. Here is Synth Tribe. As you can see, I've already got my sound in here, this one called 3 Sounds. This is the sound that we're going to be working with. To do this does require a computer to be able to do what I'm going to show you. You can't do this in the actual device easily anyway. I guess you could technically, if you recorded the sample in and just played the 3 parts and then worked from there. I mean, I haven't done it that way yet, but I guess that is possible. But here we are anyway. We're at Synth Tribe. I'm going to show you the sound right here, and if we go over to single, I can hit open wave and then tell it what I want to load. Grab this sound, which is my 3 sounds wave, and if I go ahead and open it, which I've already done because it's already there, it would show this right here. Then I click send. Send takes that sample from Synth Tribe, loads it into my LM Drum. Now, once it's in my LM Drum, it will show up in my librarian here. So we'll go over here. If we go to the bottom of this list, which we're already there, you'll see that says 3 sounds right here. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to select one of the banks here. I'm going to go with my bank 16 because I usually start from the right, because typically demo banks and all that are in the first numbers, and so I start at the back. That's just the way I like to work, backwards. And now I can go over here and I can say, all right, what sounds do I want in this? Well, what sounds do I want in this drum kit? I can go over on the left here and I can pick just a few sounds. We'll take a few different ones here. We'll grab clap sound. Actually, we've got to put it in here first. I forgot. We have to build the bank before we have to load it into the drums. All right, so we'll grab one of those. We'll grab maybe we'll drop a cowbell in here. I don't know what these sounds exactly sound like. I'm just going with, what's here just to kind of give me something to work with, all right? Get this hi-hat in here. That should be enough. And now I'm going to go down to my last sound, which is my 3 sounds one that we just loaded, and I'm going to drop that in here. So now if we go over here, I can drop in my claps, just drag them from there. This is the kind of the medium. This is where it needs to be loaded before you can do any of this. All right. So we got our clap, we got our cowbell. I'll drop that right there. Boom. We'll go grab our kick. We'll drop that on the kick. Actually, let's take 1 second. I got to scroll up. Drop that right here on bass. All right, there's my kick drum. Closing hi-hats, closed hi-hats. I'm just going to drop that right here. That'll just replicate across to the open hi-hats, and closed is just one sound, as I said. But now with the high toms, I'm going to take this sound right here. I'm going to drop this, the 3 sounds, drop it in, and you'll see that it says 3 sounds, 3 sounds, 3 sounds. So it looks like it's doing the same kind of thing that's happening here. But what we don't know right yet anyway is that we have a lot more control over this than we do on the and any of the other sounds here, because all the rest of these sounds are trying to use one sound and spread it across. And that's the way you do it back in the day, because we didn't have a lot of RAM. You'd have your 10 drum kits on a floppy disk. We're looking today at a big difference in capabilities in systems of today. But they built this LM drum kind of thinking like an old machine, even though it's not an old machine, even though it could have been more of a contender in a lot of ways, and it could be doing a lot more than it is. And I still think that they could tweak that with software. I don't know that they will, but I'm going to try to make this happen. So here we are. And now let's go to a song that's not being used. We'll go to song 8 and pattern 1. There we go. So if I play this, I should hear nothing, I think. Yeah, nothing. Good. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to go to bank 16. And so press bank 16 right here. Boom. And now here are the sounds that we just loaded in here. They're all right here. And we mapped them already. So I should be able to hit pads, right? And there's my clap. All right, and now we go over here. Let's see. We should have our, well, we don't have it though right yet. Oh, I was in the wrong menu. Sorry. You want the light to be off, and now you can hear everything. All right. It tries to share the sound again, because you'll notice if I go, because it plays everything, but you'll notice this one's low, and then we have a medium sound here, and then we have a high version here. That's because, and it's going to play them all to completion. Sorry about that. It's just the way it works. Right now, what we want to do first is we want to be able to tune these so that they're all the same, because I sampled the C note, C3, for all of these. So first, let's go up here, and if you move your cursor to where it says tune, you'll notice that high is tuned up. I'm just going to tune that down to 0. Okay, it's up to 8 right now. That's just what they do. Now if I go to low, you'll see this down 8. So let's tune that up to 0. So now this one's still off a little. There we go. So now we're good. They're all tuned to 0, basically, so they're all C. Now what we want to do is we want to find the end of the first sample. So if I want this to be my bass, we need to find the end of it. So let's go over to length, right here, and we're going to start turning this down. Ooh, we're close. Let's turn this a little more back. Ooh. All right, that's pretty good right there. Be able to get a little more. There we go. And now our next move would be to get our lead synthesizer. So let's go over here to our mid, which is going to try and play our first instrument there. And it plays a loop at the end. But what we want to do now is go to start, and we're going to turn this up. I hit the wrong one, sorry about that. And let's go to length. We'll start taking this back already because no need to hear that loop every time, because we don't want it. All right, and now we'll go up here, and I'm going to hit tap and turn this knob. And what's going to happen here, see this is how it turned to a dial? This is going to allow me to add like a little tail to this. So we're going to go, it can end a little earlier if I want to. Same here. Take this. All right, and now we have the last part is that loop. So we'll go over here, and I'm going to take this, which actually right now is turned way down. That's why it doesn't sound. I just noticed the volume was really low. We're going to take this. We're going to go for the start, and I'm going to turn this one. Now this one we should be right around 80.09 to get. I believe that's the exact start of this, and I only know that because I've done this a couple times already. So now if I hit this, we're right at the beginning of the loop. In fact, if we go ahead and turn on looping, oh, that's interesting. I never noticed that before. But all right, now we're going to go over here and we're going to take this loop. That's about right there, I think. All right, so now we've got that looped perfectly. We can do a bunch of things with it from here. We can either play it forward, we can make it play backwards, we can use it on there, we can take it out by volume, so it's in there. It could be running all the time, and we can just take it out using the volume, and that's actually a really handy way to use it, because you could actually yeah, we also have the pitch knobs over here, by the way, which are really cool because you can do some cool tape type effects there. That'd be the kind of thing that you would probably record record off to tape when you were using it. But yeah, so, or to any kind of media. Tape. I don't know why I still say tape, but you know what I mean. All right, so here we are. So now that we've got this working, we've essentially got the loop and two instruments. And if we go over here to this loop, we can also do the same thing we did earlier with the tail. So if I take this and turn this down, okay, right, and it's 120 beats a minute right now. This loop is 120, so we could actually go over here and change the speed of the tempo here to 120 also if we want to. Right here, just take this knob and we just can turn this down to 120, and now everything would be synced up. So you could then build your track using this whole thing the way it is. Also, if you hit tap and pads with your instrument, we got sorry, it's weird with the wide, they're a little extra wide and it's kind of strange, you know, but you get the idea. You have all those the pads we had to play with here. Now we've got instruments. Instead of having instead of having one sound loaded, we actually have an instrument loaded, and that just opened up a whole range of possibilities with this device for you to be able to create something more than what you could have a minute ago. Even that loop can be played across the keys the same way. That was on the toms. That works on the congas, but there's only 2 congas, so you'd have 2 samples in there. To save this, all you need to do is, if you save your pattern and save your song, it will save everything for you right there. But if you want to name this, tap bank, okay? Tap, then bank. And then you can name this bank whatever you want it to be. So actually, well, right now we're on the wrong bank. So let me go back and change that to the right bank so we can not accidentally rename the wrong bank. Let's go bank 16. There we are. There's our bank. Tap bank. And now there's no name, and I can give this a name if I want to. I can just go ahead and we'll just give it a little crooked face, sideways, the old emoji type, pre-emoji. Trying to find a blank. There it is. And then once we're done, we just go ahead and press yes. And now it's got a little smirky face type thing going on. And that's it. That is how you create and save your bank here of custom sounds. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. Have an awesome day. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I really appreciate y'all. Take care. Bye for now.